Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Samuel Kingery Show. We are very excited. It is World Cup time. The World Cup has started. We are in the midst of game two. We already had game one between Mexico and South Africa. We're going to start the podcast today by recapping the Germany USA game, the last tune up game for the World Cup. I was in the crowd in Chicago. It was a fun game to be at. But first, I want to talk to my buddy Mike Cooper, who's here with me. Mike, did you watch the game? What did you think of the game?
That goal was a banger.
Yeah. Okay. I have been.
I mean, if you're gonna talk anything on the positive side of what USA did, that goal was a banger.
I I've been. I haven't been to a ton of sports games, but like I've been to a fair amount of sports games, and I can say without a shadow of a doubt that that was the best moment I've ever seen. Like I've been to a USA game where they scored a couple bangers. That's the best, most incredible electric moment I've ever been in a crowd for. Me and my friends were freaking out. The whole crowd was freaking out. The shot was towards us. We were on that side of the field, like on that side of the ball. I mean, that's the best touch probably of Antonee Robinson's career. He's not a guy that's known for scoring a lot of goals, especially not long range. He is not like he's a technical player. He has a lot of technical ability. I mean, he's Premier League left back. He's played as one of the best left backs arguably in the Premier League for many years. But he's more of like a motor, high engine athlete, like just incredible like runner. He's not known for being like he's not Trent Alexander-Arnold by any means. But my God, in that one moment, that was a bullet.
It was absolutely gorgeous. It was a bullet. I think like anybody expected that from him. But
No.
man, did it like it tied the game? That the game just made the nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about that goal for hours. I still think about it. I'll think about it for the rest of my life. My only regret is it happened during a tune-up game, and I know tons of Americans saw it. It was on an ESPN Top 10. I'm sure most people, most soccer fans of the world saw it. But if that goal had happened in a World Cup game,
that goal was just absolutely ridiculous. It was a great pass off the corner.
and it hit a couple heads in the box, but then it bounced back right into and bounced right in front of him, and he volleyed it. And my goodness, it was wow. I was showing people in the bar in Chicago that goal that didn't go to the game, but like would ask me about my jersey, like, did you go? I'm like, did you see the banger? And I was like drunkenly telling people, I'm like, you gotta see this, dude, you gotta see this. Random strangers I've never met in my life. I'm like, look at this. It was sick.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing about like this time of year is no matter what, everyone's talking about all the sports that are going on. It's like, did you see the comebacks in the Stanley Cup? Did you see the Spurs come back last night? Did you see the banger goal in the tune-up? And then, like you said, though, if it happened in a World Cup, World Cup game, everybody would be still talking about it.
Like,
and it would still probably be a play of the tournament. It might still be a play of the tournament before it.
Honestly, it still might end up being the best goal of like this whole like month. There's a lot of soccer to be played, though. I can't guarantee that. I will say most likely it's the best goal in USA history. Most likely, not in terms of importance, but like versus a quality opponent in the level of shot it was, maybe the best goal we've ever scored. But yeah, it was insane. USA ended up losing 2-1 in the game. I do want to talk first, we kind of struck on it, how good the goal was, but just how well the USA played. Like, I believe we started most of our starting lineup except for Chris Richards, who was still hurt. He is now training with the team and should be expected to start tomorrow versus Paraguay. Miles Robinson got the nod instead of him. I disagreed with it when we get into the issues and why we gave up goals. He will be mentioned. He was very culpable in the first goal.
I mean, on the first goal, Miles Robinson didn't look very good. Tyler Adams committed a foul right outside the box. I just set up a perfect set play by Germany.
Yeah, giving Joshua Kimmich a free kick. Our goalie could have, I think Matt Freese could have came out and claimed that ball and been a little bit more aggressive. But also, you as a starting center back cannot lose your man in the box like that. I understand that Germany ran a little bit of a set play, kind of picked him off. But Miles Robinson, you have to be better than that. He cannot play. I don't know why he started instead of Mark McKenzie or somebody else in that position. I firmly disagree with that choice. I don't think he should play at all in the World Cup. I think he kind of sucks. But Chris Richards should not have that problem. That guy plays, in the Premier League. That guy's a starter in the Premier League. He's our best defender. I think if he's playing in that game, we don't let up that goal. And then it's a 1-1 game. But I want to talk about how well USA played. You can pull up USA versus Germany in like the lineup, and then we can actually go to the stats if you want to, the game stats. Because I'm looking at them right now. We had a little bit more possession than Germany. We had 16 total shots to Germany's 12. We had 4 shots on target. They also had 4 shots on target. They had 4 more touches in our box, 1 big chance. We had more passes. But like these stats show that for the most part, we played this game close. We played versus a world power. We played this game close. And yeah, I know they probably weren't playing their hardest, but they played pretty hard versus Christian Pulisic. They definitely marked him out. They did their best to foul him. They were aggressive many times, and we played with them. Our high press was causing real problems with them building up. They would break out on the wings occasionally and get some runs, but it didn't really lead to incredible chances for the most part. Their big chance was the free kick. So we played with them. So in terms of hope for the United States, I know it's a 2-1 loss. We were right in that game. We pulled our starters. Like if it's a World Cup game, we're keeping those starters in to continue playing. We're not pulling off as many people as we did. We're playing more high impact people for longer. Chris Richards is starting, like I mentioned before. So I think we can play with them. I don't know if we can play with like a France, but in terms of a Germany, we showed that we can play with a team like that. And that means we can play with anybody in this tournament, maybe outside the top 4 or 5 teams.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I think that it showed the capability and the flash of potential of what this team can be.
Yeah.
And I think for those people that called us crazy a little bit, I know you didn't want to talk about them, but for the people that called us crazy, that the United States could win their group and the United States could win a knockout game before the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
That game showed the potential of what this lineup can do. Yeah. And I think that if they can get Richards back and if Richards is healthy, this team could win a group and win a knockout game. It's not unrealistic.
I also wanted to let's talk about what the knockout is. With this expanded World Cup, the knockout is significantly, the first round is significant. There's going to be teams in the first round of the knockout that have never been out of a group once in their history of their country. There's going to be teams in this knockout that are incredibly beatable. Like it's not like a knockout where we were running into like last time we ran into Netherlands. We have a chance. There's a chance we run into like a very, very mid team in this knockout. Like there's a ton of teams that are going to make it out. Like there's a chance.
I mean, depending on like where you seed it and how bad some of these groups go, you may be getting a third team from some pool.
Yeah, no, like
and it's like people are acting like this is some miracle that they could win a game. If you're getting a team, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's just say they go 0-2-1 and somehow advance through.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get a team that's beatable, that's very similar to a team in your group. You can do that. You're going to get through to the quarters. Anything can happen in the quarters.
We watched South Africa play today versus Mexico. They were playing at the Azteca in Mexico, hard place to play, but they did not look good at all. They looked bad. They did not look good. They looked awful.
I will say, if we're going to comment on that game other than the gameplay, Landon Donovan is a terrible commentator.
He always has been.
I mean, no, what I was going to say was, but he did make one good point. In that game, they didn't look interested from the first kick.
No. And
if you're going to get a team that might go 0-2-1 and lose like that, and that may not even be interested in the game, you're going to advance through.
Like a team like Egypt there's a chance the USA plays Iran in the knockout if we both get second out our group, by the way. If we both get second out our group, USA will play Iran. That is crazy if that happens. That would be wild, but I digress. Anyway, you could get teams like that coming out. That's a beatable team. In comparison to previous World Cups, if we say we're running a first round knockout game in previous World Cups, you're playing a really good team usually. You're playing a top 15 to 20 team in the world, and we haven't been able to really play those teams as well, aside from our one knockout win ever, which was versus our rival Mexico in 2002. Otherwise, we've always lost. Mexico is most likely going to get out of their group in first place. Like there are going to be teams that are going to advance in this World Cup that are not going to be world beaters. So the expectation that I think we're winning a knockout game.
I will say Mexico does look very improved. They look like they're playing better than they have been the last couple years.
They're
But
fine.
I didn't say they're a world beater. They look
Yeah,
better.
I know.
They look better, but it's also they're gonna have the benefit of playing it in Azteca.
Oh yeah, of course. I just my point is, for people that think I would be crazy to say they can win a knockout game, half of the reason I think they can win a knockout game is because I think pretty much unless you get the top 5 teams, unless you get one of the top 10 teams in the world, I think it's most likely a favorable matchup for the United States, who's a top 20 team in the world. Most likely. And we'll be at home. So like that's the reason. I'm not saying they're going to beat France in a knockout game. I'm saying if we get matched up with somebody the level of Iran or somebody, like Egypt, like we can beat them easily. So that's what I'm saying, especially at home. But I also think that we can beat mid-tier European teams. If we play a team like Belgium, yeah, Belgium has some talent. Belgium is also not not amazing by any means. If we play Norway, like we can beat teams like that. Like we really can. Like we played Germany really well in this friendly. So this gave me hope for the future. We can talk about the things that that didn't go well, and the reason we gave up 2 goals. The second goal we gave up, just like a ball bounced around the box. Sane just found his way through and scored. That's just individual quality of Leroy Sane more. The first goal, Tyler Adams gives up a bad free kick. Kimmich is on it. He puts a ball. He delivers a great free kick. Now we can't do anything about a guy like Joshua Kimmich, who is a world class player, delivering a perfect free kick. Our central center back in a 3-man center back being not good enough to mark his man and not tuned in enough in his brain early in the game to mark his freaking man and giving it up a goal wide open. That's an issue. That's why we shouldn't play Miles Robinson. But if Chris Richards is there, we don't give that up. Outside of that, I really didn't find a bunch of problems in the game except for like some individual player performances. But like a lot of our players played solid. They played to their potential. Gio Reyna struggled a little bit in the game. I think he struggled with the pace of the game. I think Gio has kind of shown that he is better against teams that are going to play a little slower and try to defend. So that's why I think he really shined versus like Paraguay in the friendly earlier this year, because they're going to play a little bit like that. So I think Gio's going to be really, really useful in games where teams are playing more defensive against us. Teams like Australia, teams like Paraguay, even Turkey might do that. I don't know if Gio's going to have his legs quite have the speed, and like he has quite the ability to be as impactful versus teams like Germany and even Senegal. He wasn't super duper impactful. He could have been a little bit more impactful with Senegal, but he was struggling with the pace of the game. Christian Roldan didn't look too great. What a shock. Our forwards didn't get a lot of service versus Germany, but that makes sense. They have 2 really great center backs.
Yeah, Bulgan only had 20 touches in 72 minutes.
But being in the crowd, Balogun was able to kind of drift out wide, pull the center backs with him, and that gave room to Christian Pulisic, who didn't have a great FOT mob match rating, but that doesn't mean anything. You watch sports and soccer especially, but you watch sports with your eyes. Christian Pulisic was very dangerous in that game, had multiple chances, a couple times where maybe he could have passed the ball instead, but he was very dangerous. He was getting a lot of space because of Balogun pulling off the center backs to him. So and they were fouling him. Like Christian, like there's a reason why Christian's our best player. There's a reason why has been a starter in Europe for a long time and has been a very impactful player there. It's because
hold on. For those of you who don't know who Pulisic is, he plays in Europe and has been a starter for a very, very long time.
Yeah. If you don't know who Christian Pulisic is, the people that pretend that he don't know who he was, he kind of won a Champions League with Chelsea in 2021. He kind of had the 10 jersey, was given it after Eden Hazard left the club. He earned the 10 jersey at Chelsea. He kind of scored in the Champions League knockout versus Man City to send them to that final. He was the only player that scored in that game, and he went on a solo run. He kind of was a 17-year-old playing at Borussia Dortmund for Jurgen Klopp. He kind of is a starter for AC Milan. He kind of has had 20 goal contributions for multiple seasons there. So if you pretend to not know who he is, you're taking the piss. Is what you're taking the piss, lad. You're taking the piss. All right. All right, because you do know who he is. Yes, he is not. I understand he's not a Barcelona starter. I understand that, but he can be very impactful. And Germany was fouling him, and Germany was struggling with him. So he is that kind of player. We can play with Germany. There are a few issues. I think Chris Richards being in the lineup helps. I think obviously us playing our best lineup for most of the time helps.
I thought Tyler Adams was one of the players that came out with more positives than negatives too. I thought the early foul didn't help him, but I
It's kind of what he
but
does though. Like Tyler Adams
but I thought
occupies
but I thought
space.
but I thought he settled down into the match, and I think that he's going to be fine. I think
No,
that they're fine in the midfield with him. I
yeah,
thought Berhalter, when he came in, played pretty well.
he was. Oh,
I
him
didn't
and
I didn't I wouldn't think that he's somebody who hurt himself at
no,
all playing in that game. I thought that he probably helped himself. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be in the top 9 tomorrow,
no,
top 12, top 11, excuse me, but
yeah,
I think that he made a strong impression late.
yeah,
And I think that's what you need from because we
yeah,
talked about in our preview that this team is going to need role players off the bench
yeah,
to get some minutes.
yeah,
And I think that he's going to carve out a role somehow. It's just going to be
yeah.
what exactly is that role?
Yeah, Tyler Adams was already in practice this week, not practicing with the team and like running on the sideline with Chris Richards due to like heavy minutes on his legs. He can't play every minute. Berhalter has proven at least a little bit that he is okay enough to play. Him and Arvston have both kind of been okay enough to play and like have been serviceable in their positions at worst. Miles Robinson, and Christian Roldan have not been. They have been bad. They've frankly been horrific. But those two have been depth pieces that are good. You got Weah, Reyna, Aronson coming off the bench. Still having Zendejas didn't even get a lot around Pepe. Like we have some depth, and so yeah, I feel good about this team. I feel good about the way they played despite the loss. In terms of my personal experience of the game, I had a great time. Yes, there's some US soccer things that I think are cringe. Some of the supporters' chants I think are a little cringe. But there was also some like end of the game, USA and Germany get into a little bit of scrap. Tim Weah goes for a hard challenge. Whole crowd gets up as they're fighting and chants USA, USA. That rocks. That rocks. I like that. That's fun. Some of the other stuff and some of the pre-match stuff, a little bit annoying. It was cool seeing the 94 World Cup team there. I had a good experience of the game. Soldier Field is me and my friends were talking about this. We're like, I cannot believe this is an NFL stadium because like unimpressive for there was less food options there than like at a St. Louis City game. There was less impressive.
Well, I mean, now you know why they're trying to get a new stadium.
Yeah, no, there's a reason the Bears are moving to Hammond, Virginia. But Soldier Field was cool. I thought that sitting down and being in the stadium was cool. The outside, like the in the stadium outside portion, was pretty mid to kind of bad. So I didn't love that. But Chicago was cool. I had a good time. I had a fun time at the game. It was a fun game to go to. Very glad I went. Do you want to talk about how the World Cup is here and the first game we saw today?
Yeah, I thought.
Let's talk about the lineup for Paraguay tomorrow before we move off the USA. I think the lineup you see on the screen in front of you, some say it's 4-2-3-1. Others, I think it's more of it's a 4-2-3-1 out of possession. It's a 3-4-2-1 in possession. It's fluid. It's how soccer works. Lineups are kind of fluid. I think this is basically the starting lineup we're going to get based on they played 60 minutes under Pochettino. Versus Germany, and I think the only difference is Miles Robinson doesn't start and Chris Richards starts. I'm very comfortable with that lineup. I think it's good, and that's what I think we'll see tomorrow. Maybe Matt Turner gets started instead of Matt Freese, but I think this is basically going to be our starting lineup.
I think Freese starts in goal.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Poch hasn't said anything yet, but you know how it goes. Typically, the goalie who starts the last tune-up game typically starts, and the fact that he played the full 90, that kind of tells you that it's probably going to be Freese in goal.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would say Chris Richards is probably going to start.
It's I said this before we started. It's the World Cup. Chris Richards was practicing with the team later this week. You would have to send in the special forces to stop this man from playing in this game. It is a world of all the games growing up playing any sport. There are a few games that no matter what, if you can walk, you will play in as an athlete. A World Cup game for your country is one of them. Playoff games, World Cup games. Those are the games you play your entire life for. This is not, a Wednesday away match in the FA Cup early in the season versus freaking Stoke. This is a USA home World Cup game. If he can walk, he will be playing in this game. So I have no doubts that he will be playing, same as Tyler Adams. So, and I'm
I
glad
think
because
I
aside from
think, in my opinion, I think they go Freeze and goal, Freeman, Richards, and Ream, and then they go Dest and Robinson, and then Adams and Tillman, and then Pulisic, Bologan, and Weah.
you don't think that they have to start McKennie.
Yeah, I could see.
He had the best European season of all of them this year. You have to start Weston McKennie.
I think it depends how he wants to balance him and Tillman.
I think you're playing Weah where Dest is, and Dest has been too good. I think if you're not playing Tillman by Pulisic, you're playing McKennie or you're playing Reyna or Aronson. I think Aronson maybe makes that position before even Weah at this point, because Weah is more of a winger, and in this formation, he's where Dest is, and I think Dest has been better. And then I love the fact that we can bring Weah on late, like that's great. But I think it's one of McKennie, Reyna, or Tillman next to Pulisic, and one of Tillman or McKennie next to Adams. So I think they're both Tillman and McKennie are starting. I would be shocked. Weston McKennie he's arguably the third or second best player on the team. You can't not play him.
I mean, they've done crazier stuff.
They have done crazy stuff. Well,
I wouldn't be surprised though.
No, Pochettino hasn't done a lot of crazier stuff. Sometimes Greg Berhalter did, but I saw. Speaking of which, fans, I saw Greg at the game. Me and my friend said hello to Greg. He waved back. I told him I missed the bounce passes. I tweeted that I missed the bounce passes, but not his coaching. I do want to say this. Greg Berhalter always said he wanted to change the way American soccer for years said we wanted to change the way the world sees American soccer. Yeah, it was cringe and stupid, and goddamn it, Greg. Sometimes I hate you, but sometimes I still love you. Maybe this is our chance because there's been a lot of talk online about people don't believe in this team. Like they don't even think they could win a knockout game versus freaking like an Iran or something, apparently. So why not change the way the world views American soccer? And what better way to do it than on home soil with this team?
Here's a FOTMob's projected lineup. I put that up on the screen. So they went Bologan, Weah, McKennie, Pulisic.
Yeah.
Tillman, Adams, Robinson, Ream, Richards, Freeman, and then Freeze and goal.
And I'll be honest, if this is the lineup, I'm not mad at it. I just when Paraguay is most likely going to play a little defensive versus us. God, Tim Weah is better in like a counter-attacking game where he can use his speed and they can get the ball to him and he just cuts up the field. Like our first goal in the last World Cup, he scored it on a counter-attack versus Wales. I think Serginho Dest with his dribbling ability and his like shooting and passing ability is a little bit better than Weah, and I'd prefer him against a team that's going to defend more, to break down those lines and to find a ball and get around a guy versus Weah is more of just a runner. But I'm not mad at this if this is the lineup that comes out.
Let's talk about before we go into like any predictions or stuff. Can we talk about all these different rankings they put out of these players?
So there's nothing in sports media that professional sports media loves more than a ranking. God, that's the entire football offseason. How much of the football offseason is either NFL football, by the way, for the fans that also comment, it's called football. It's called soccer.
It's called football in Europe. It's called soccer in the United States.
It's called soccer here.
We have football here.
It's called soccer here because the English invented the word soccer. And that's what we called it when we started playing soccer. And you started calling it football later. And all fair to you, it is a game played with your feet. I do understand that criticism of American football. Don't get me wrong. But it's also called soccer. So, and when we beat a European team in a quarterfinal, then it's definitely called soccer. So whatever. Anyway,
if we talk about the Fox one, so the Fox one.
Fox Sports. God bless you, Fox Sports.
You're funny. I mean, they had two Americans ranked in the top 100. Weston McKennie was ranked 73. Christian Pulisic, the player that you guys don't know who he is, was ranked number 79.
They've never heard of him.
Nope. For the people who don't know, Weston McKennie plays at Juventus.
He was their best player this year, probably.
and Pulisic plays at AC Milan. Oh,
Weston McKennie played a couple years with Ronaldo at Juventus, so yeah, I think soccer players know who he is. I did. Speaking of that argument, there was somebody I commented against that said I mentioned like Joe Scally. Joe Scally, they're like, I've never heard of this player. They like, I watch a lot of football and I've never heard of him. Joe Scally has the record for minutes of any player under the age of 23 in the Bundesliga ever. So if you don't watch a lot of football and you don't know who he is, I don't know if you watch a lot of football because he's played there for 5 years and as a starter, he has the record over players like Musiala at Bayern Munich. He has the record over guys that like he has the U23 German league record over German world class players. You know who he is.
It's exhausting hearing the Pulisic discourse. Yes, he's had his major up and downs in Europe. Nobody's gonna discount that.
But yeah, he's not a European best 11. Fine. I've never said he was.
But every time Pulisic does something good on anything, it always gets discounted because he's American.
Yeah, and because one video of freaking the guy from Pawn Stars saying that isn't this guy like the LeBron James of soccer? Yeah, it's funny and it's stupid. It's not true at all. But to be fair, at the moment that was his Chelsea jersey. He had just scored like in 8 games in a row for Chelsea and was worth like $80 million on the transfer market. So kind of. Anywho, let's talk about these rankings.
Oh, I forget. Oh, only 51. Sorry.
Only 51. Only a 51. Only Manchester United is only interested in his services. Who knows who he is? It's just some fucking bullshit player.
But that's what's funny though. Every time he seems to struggle at anything, they act like it proves he's never been a good player, and it's one of the laziest conversations that soccer fans can have.
Yeah, like you know who else has had really bad seasons but is having a good season now? Marcus Rashford had some really bad seasons for Man United. He's playing great at Barcelona now. You know who he is, but like it's whatever. Anyway, let's talk about these rankings. The rankings are a classic sports media doesn't know what to talk about, so we're gonna rank players. There's a 48-team World Cup. Let's rank the players. A lot of them make a lot of sense. The top 20 being guys like Harry Kane, Messi, Ronaldo's going to be up there, Vinicius. Then we get the USA, Weston McKennie at 73. I'll admit this is a homer take for Fox to be putting Weston McKennie at 73. Weston McKennie.
I wouldn't say McKennie should be in the top 100, but to put him in front of Pulisic is a little. It's
because he had a better season and Pulisic had it, and AC Milan as a whole had a disastrous second half of their season. So I understand why, like, at the moment, sure. Weston McKennie is. Here's my reason against him being in the top 100, and I love Weston McKennie. I really do. He is not a player who he is like the perfect role player on a Champions League team. He is not a guy that's going to lead you in scoring and assists, but he is the perfect third midfielder. He is the perfect third midfielder that can also play wing back, that can play attacking midfielder, that can play all over the pitch for you. Motor, like he's a guy that like
so hold on. So this is what they said about Pulisic. Captain America will have all eyes on him this summer. At 27 years old, Pulisic has already made 84 appearances for the U.S. national team. His 32 goals are 25 behind Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey. Pulisic has not scored for the United States in a meaningful game since November of 2024. So he needs to regain his form if Americans want to make a run to the knockout round. But a quote says, on talent alone, Pulisic is a top 40 player in the world. So hold on. But you say he's a top 40 player in talent, but you put him at 79?
Because he had a bad. Listen, there's so many problems with this. There's so many problems. Let's start from the top 40 player in the world. On talent alone, Christian Pulisic is not a top 40 player in the world. He's not. I love Christian Pulisic. He's our best player that we've ever had. He's not. Now, on his day, if he's having a great month, like he's had some months in like the Serie A and Champions League early last season, where it's like, yeah, this guy has 6 goals this month and 3 assists. He's playing like a top 30 player in the world. Yes, absolutely. On his day, he totally can be. He has that talent. In terms of like in general on talent, he's a top 100 player in the world, I'd say, but not top 40. The stat about him not scoring in a meaningful match for the United States since November of 2024. Do you know how many meaningful matches the United States has played? Because meaningful matches means a non-friendly. Like 7, and they were Gold Cup games where he didn't play because the Gold Cup is useless for Christian Pulisic to play. Why the fuck would we have him play versus Trinidad, Guatemala, and Panama? Just to get just so they on their dirt fields can put a flying knee into his side and take him out for 6 months. I understand why he skipped the Gold Cup. He got some flack for it. Him skipping Gold Cup is fine. Most of our starters should. Anyway, the United States we didn't have to World Cup qualify, Mike. So we haven't had a meaningful game outside of that Gold Cup in that Nations League.
So to hold that against
The
him
whole
is kind of ridiculous on Fox's point. It's lazy. It just shows, like you were just talking about, like where these ranking systems are. That's just a lazy take. But this is what they said about Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie is the highest rated American player on this list. Having established himself as a fixture in Juventus' lineup, he has played in at least 34 games in Italy Serie A in each of the last 3 seasons and has been all over the field, in defense at fullback, in midfield, and as an attacker. There's a quote from the guy who did this ranking, said, "The guy's a baller. I would say he's having the most impressive season of his career. The most important thing is now that he's playing further forward up in the field, and he's shown that he can score goals and create assists." Then it goes on to say McKennie can do it all, which the United States may need him to do this summer if he wants to make a run through the knockout stages.
Yeah. So listen,
if the Americans are playing, expect to see a lot of Weston McKennie.
So listen, I don't have as much of a problem with this. They're absolutely correct. That doesn't justify his position on the list, though. Like I was saying about Weston McKennie, listen to that analysis is good. He can play all over the pitch. He's impactful all over the pitch, but he's not a superstar in any position. He's just really solid at nearly most positions on the pitch. To me, Weston McKennie is a perfect player for, like, if I'm a coach at any high level team in Europe, I honestly might try to get Weston McKennie's services, even at like a Real Madrid. I know that's crazy. Not as like even a starter necessarily, but like a bench guy who can fill any role and be that third midfielder, that fourth midfielder that you bring on for something. That's what he's good at. But to be a top 100 player on this list, he should probably be a superstar in an aspect. He's not really a superstar in any aspect aside from he's a superstar at being a role player. Like he is the one of the best role players in world soccer. Does that mean he should be a top 100 player on this list? No. Does that mean he's one of America's best players and one of our most important players? Absolutely.
So in the last 2 friendlies, he started one and did not start one.
Yeah, he came off the bench in the Senegal game. We were splitting 45s. So like, here's my equivalent to Weston McKennie. If they were doing like a top 40 ranking in the upcoming NBA season, who's the best role player in the NBA? Like the best one? Alex Caruso?
No.
Who's the best role player? Who do you think? Just toss out, it doesn't really matter. But like, who do you think is just super impactful? It's all NBA.
No, he's not a superstar. That's the problem. I know he was an all NBA player, but I wouldn't say he's a superstar.
We're letting that series get to our head. What I'm saying is Weston McKennie.
No, hold on. Let me think. Because like, to be fair, like Klay Thompson wasn't. I mean, I know he was all NBA, but he was a role player in that.
He's also a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, right. But like, I don't know. Like,
we're getting to a stupid place in this conversation. What I'm saying is, Weston McKennie is probably one of the best role players in Europe, in my opinion. He's one of the best that you have him in your team. He can fill out at fullback, wingback, center mid, attacking midfielder. He can play spurts at striker. He can fill in as a third center back if you even need him to. I'm pretty sure he's America and Juventus's emergency goalkeeper too, which is really funny. If he ever plays emergency goalkeeper, he will be one of the only players that has played the every single position professionally ever, which is
Finally,
really
somebody commented on somebody commented on our take about how it's not unrealistic for the United States to get into the second round at least of the knockout stage.
it's not at all. Depending on matchup, it's not at all. Anyway, I don't think that warrants him being a top 100 player on this list. It's because it's the American media company putting him on this list. If you want to put him as like the 100th to like 95th, sure. 73rd is bold. It is a bold, bold pick.
That's why I said it was bold too to put him above Pulisic.
Yeah, and they're obviously
because no offense, Weston McKennie is Christian Pulisic is going to carry this team to the quarters wherever they want to go or not.
Yeah,
Weston McKennie is not going to do that.
No.
Weston McKennie can play a great piece in a solid system that Poch is trying to run to get.
Most likely, yeah, and Weston McKennie is going to play 80 to 90 minutes a game. He's going to be a motor. He might contribute a header goal, an assist. He'll play solid as hell the whole time. He's just not that attacking superstar that you're going to see, or that crazy impactful player that you're going to see for most of this list. Weston McKennie is the type of guy that is a perfect role player in tons of soccer systems, and I think that's the reason why I think that's why many teams in Europe would love his services, because he can just, he's probably not a starter for obviously.
FotMob, his transfer value is only 22 million, so he's a great grab for anybody who wants him.
Dude, if I'm like a third place or fourth place team in a top 5 league, if I'm Atletico Madrid, if I'm I don't know about Premier League, but if I'm Dortmund or something, like having him to be your fourth choice midfielder and like a guy that can, because you take 2 injuries at right back, any team in the world takes 2 injuries at right back, and they have Weston McKennie sitting there on their bench, perfect, toss him in. That's an invaluable piece. But does that mean he's 73rd on this list? No. But American media and sports media as a whole, God bless it, they love a list. They love it more than anything. They love rankings. They love lists. There's a reason why every Monday, we're like, when does the AP poll drop? When does it? Because we as fans are kind of sluts for lists too. And whether we like it or not, we love it as well. Let's talk. The World Cup has started. Mexico played a game today versus South Africa. Boy, this expanded World Cup is going to lead to some interesting upsets and matchups, but it's also going to lead to this, where one team looks unable to play in a game against another team. Now, Mexico is also playing at home with the home crowd, with a better team in the Azteca, which is one of the a super high elevation in the smog of Mexico City, a cathedral of soccer that is also a hellhole to play in. At least opposing players do not like playing there.
That game just showed how weird this tournament could get. 3 red cards, 2 on South Africa, 1 on Mexico.
Yeah,
the Mexico one came late in stoppage time.
By the way, that Mexico one really fucking stupid.
It was
your starting center back taking a red card, that means he's out for the next game. Like that, if you don't feel confident in your next choice guy, which it's Mexico, they have some depth. I'm sure they'll be okay. But like, boy, a red card in that situation, brother, just get out of the game. Just walk away. Just don't.
Yeah, you're playing 11 on 9. How bad was that threat?
Just don't do it.
But I think it shows too that this tournament's probably going to get a little chippy, and VAR is going to be very out. You're going to make some.
Yeah.
It's going to get chippy. VAR is going to really matter in this tournament.
USA Germany got chippy at the end of a friendly. Like yeah, it's definitely going to get chippy. The matchups are going to be weird. There's going to be some team. Jordan is my number 1 team that I think they're going to take a couple thumpings. They're going to be bad, I think. If Jordan ties a game, more power to them. I'll be impressed, because I think they're going to take some shots. Now, some of these groups are like incredibly hard, and then like USA, Canada, and Mexico's groups, yeah, we're the host countries. There could be a little bit to that there, a little conspiracy theory. But like some of these groups are full of like really good teams, and then other of these groups have a couple teams in it that are just like, how are you in the World Cup? And it's because we expanded the World Cup. And like we talked about earlier, that expansion is going to lead to a knockout round where there's going to be some teams that are not up to the challenge, and even worse than the USA was versus Netherlands, which that is also was also partly lined up in Greg Berhalter being a freaking idiot. But yeah, I'm still incredibly excited. I like that there's more teams in it though, because we get to see more fans, more cultures collide. That's really
I will say the best thing so far. I know it hasn't really started, and there's only 1.5 game, or the second game's only going on. But these videos of the Europeans seeing American things for the first time
rocks.
is so great.
That,
Like the game that just the friendly that just happened at Auburn where they discovered
oh
Swag
yeah,
Surf for the first time, or the guy who discovered Walmart for the first time.
yeah, dude.
There was a guy who went to Costco for the first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, yeah, they're seeing American extravagance at the highest level. There's a German fan that has been like everywhere all over the South. He was tubing down the Chattahoochee River, which it's very funny to think about a German humming Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson while going down the river. He went to Bucky's. This guy went to Bucky's. He went to the Auburn game. He was like, they have an eagle flying. This is a college stadium. They have an eagle flying. And I was like, yeah,
I've seen these
rocks.
memes too of like how people like Europeans were trying to make fun of the United States for like, oh, this is gonna be a stadium with just a parking lot. They can't put two stadiums here. Have you not been to any pro city? Even just like look at Vegas. Vegas has a football NFL stadium, two casinos, a hockey and concert arena, and then a baseball stadium
Yeah.
building all in one corner.
Yeah, and of course, there's some American cities that are ridiculous in how they've put things, but there's also a big tailgating culture. Horrible choice by FIFA to ban tailgating at this. Tailgating would have been like the number one American export that we could have done at this. Like imagine European fans like the Netherlands crowd where they're like jumping around in the orange shirts, walking through like an American tailgate in Kansas City, and like cheese, basically like people that have cheese season tickets are cooking like brats and hot dogs. Like you want one, and they're drinking beer. I'm mad that FIFA banned. I'm
I
mad
just
about
think
it.
that they've gone the problem is they made these new stadiums so too nice, and they
Yeah,
like there's no tailgating. I don't think at SoFi. There's no tailgating at Allegiant in Vegas.
no.
I know the World
Mercedes
Cup's not
Benz, I assume, is probably pretty hard to tailgate
like
at.
we need the stadiums that are outdoors, brand new, but you can still rock and
Yeah,
tailgate.
and it is kind of a shame. Like I wish the Rose Bowl got a game. I understand why like feasibly it's easier to like put all these people and all these teams
Hey,
and
the Rose Bowl's getting the soccer in the Olympics, so
true, true. And that's a great stadium. I drove out there earlier this year. I loved it. I wish a little bit that some of the games were in like the big house and were in Allen Field and Texas A&M. Like, because that's what the Europeans are going to these friendly games. It's like Argentina playing at Auburn, and they're like, "Holy shit, this town is incredible! Like, what a beautiful little town." And then you have this fortress, and it is, and there's a 6,000-foot widescreen TV that you get to watch every play from, and there is an eagle flying over it, and they're like, "This is incredible." It has been one of the best parts. Also, have you seen where some of these teams are staying? So like Algeria, listen, I hate Kansas, but Algeria is staying like and hanging out in Kansas, and like Kansas Jayhawk fans are like embracing Algeria. Lamine Yamal was spotted walking around a Walmart in Chattanooga, Tennessee. No one knows who he is. All these people in Chattanooga, Tennessee are just walking around. And Lamine Yamal, a top 5 player on that ranking list, I think he was one. He was number one, maybe the most like exciting soccer player in the world, is walking around Walmart. Like it's so funny that they're encountering a culture that number one doesn't know everything about soccer for the most part, but also is just so vast and so big, and like we do things huge here. And I'm excited because I think there was some
like
claiming.
I would have loved to see the United States play at Virginia Tech and
Yeah,
have them come out to Sandman.
dude. Yeah. Okay. Also, I have a take about this. I have a take about this after going to the many USA. I've been to like 5 USA games. Instead of like the chance in us trying to like have a soccer supporter section, I appreciate the American Outlaws and what they're trying to do. I get it. I think instead of that, whatever stadium we're in, and like if we should go to like Virginia Tech, and it should be basically the Virginia Tech, like come out to enter Sandman, like stadiums rocking. Like if we play in like Wisconsin's jump around, or or we play at Florida State and everybody's going like,
Or the Penn State. And
Yeah,
we are Penn State.
we do a whiteout at the in college station. What is Penn State in?
I
It's
don't know what it's called,
I
but
forget what time.
Happy Valley.
Happy
Happy
Valley.
Valley.
Yeah, we
College
do
Station's A&M.
but
Or they come out at Clemson, they run down the hill.
yeah, exactly. Like that would be kind of sick. Or alternative idea, doesn't matter what stadium we're playing in, but we take the best of those and that's how we do the games. Instead of like the normal chanting that the American Outlaws tries to do, we come out to freaking Enter Sandman with the crowd jumping. At halftime, at the water breaks, we're doing the tomahawk.
Fuck it, can we be the only country that has a goal song and play Freebird every time we score?
By the way, we do play Freebird. I advocated for that, and we do it. It should be the American national anthem. I did an entire college speech one time on why Freebird can and should be the national anthem. I appreciate our national anthem, and I get why pregame maybe we should do it. But like for other, can you imagine we win an Olympic gold in something? We win Olympic gold in basketball, and instead of like having everybody hold their hand over their hearts when our flag is raising to the national anthem,
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened when the gold was won in hockey. They scored the goal and they played Freebird.
Yeah, but when they raise the flag of the country that wins and we make everybody stand for 7 minutes of Freebird. The full guitar solo. You have to stand for all of it. People are dying in the crowd as the guitar solo's only 3 minutes in. I think it'd be hilarious. But yeah, I kind of wish we'd do some of that. But I'm very glad that Europeans and I saw a Japanese content creator talking about walking around, I think Seattle or wherever, but they thought it was really great. Very glad that everybody's here and everybody's getting to experience it. I hope everybody has a really good time and sees, what the United States can offer in terms of, the stadiums. And listen, we're playing at NFL football stadiums. They're going to be great stadiums. But yeah, there is a part of me that's like, what if we toss?
But no offense, there's a different atmosphere when you're playing at Arrowhead because they do the tomahawk chop thing too, or when you're playing in Seattle than when you're playing at SoFi.
Oh yeah, because SoFi feels very corporate. It's an incredible stadium. Feels very corporate. We what tossing Portugal and Bryant Denny would be so funny. Also, I did see a tweet that we should have a European American exchange program where we send Manchester United fans to Alabama, Tennessee, and then we send Tennessee, Alabama fans to a Manchester United game. And I think it'd be great. Dude, yeah, because can you imagine the USA playing at Neyland in Tennessee? Any of these
coming out the Rocky Top.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? Wouldn't that be sick?
The European mind wouldn't be able to comprehend what a real atmosphere is like. I'm not and this is not a shot at the Premier League and anything they do or these fans do, but the European mind for what goes on during college football, they won't understand.
No.
They won't understand. Yeah, soccer atmospheres are great. We got try going to play at the big house with 130,000 people.
The only thing, I think your European Champions League soccer, where you have the yellow wall at Dortmund, the only thing comparable, because they look at our sports as kind of corporate and kind of plastic. That's fine to think about the NFL or whatever like that. College football has a similar history to soccer, where it started nearly the same time. It grew grassroots, and now there's these massive stadiums and massive support for these teams, and it's all organic and it's ingrained in the culture. College football and high-level European soccer are on the same wavelength. I think that I could have been a thing that we maybe showcased a little bit more, and I hope there's a few fans that did go to Kyle Field in Texas A&M and did go to Auburn that are going to be well, I might tune into an SEC Saturday night game. I might tune in at 4 a.m. to
LSU.
Yeah. I might tune in LSU at night for a U.S. soccer game. That would be sick. We come out purple and gold.
They would have to play neck too.
Yeah, the entire American crowd going doing neck. Now that's intimidating. When the American Outlaws are we will follow, support the U.S. Sure, whatever. But can you imagine?
Yes, I always forget that the United States has a song.
But can you imagine if instead of that at Chicago this weekend, we were the whole crowd's doing neck at Germany? Dude, that'd be crazy. That'd be so fun. I am gonna shit on the Azteca a little bit. I get why it's a classic stadium. World Cup finals have been played there. It's a
Hold on,
massive.
before you shit on it, I will say that environment is probably closer to a college football game.
Yeah, no, it's Mexico's soccer cathedral. Maradona won a World Cup final there. I understand why it's a stadium. It's also in crazy altitude and hot and in smog. So a little bit of a screw you to the Azteca too. I think it's kind of a BS stadium. It's not as.
Okay,
Do you know?
like
Do you know?
we said when you before we hopped on, let's have the United States play all their games at Mile High.
Yeah, let's do it. Like if we're gonna do that, let's do it. Like, well, we used to like do, and we still do sometimes. I'm sure we'll see it in the next qualifying cycle. We're like we forced team Honduras to play at Minneapolis, and it was like -2 and snowing. Why? So stupid. Do you know where Bolivia plays their games?
No.
Bolivia forces. This is why Bolivia is a tough team to beat at home. When they're at home in like South American qualifying, they never make World Cups, and they're never a very good team because they don't really have that talent. But they forced Brazil to come to La Paz, which is like the Himalayas, and they're playing up in the mountains, and like the players are like dying on the field. There's like 5-minute oxygen breaks. It's crazy up there.
Hold on. Speaking of breaks, can we talk about the water breaks?
Yes. So, and this isn't apparently on Telemundo. It's not a thing. It's just on like the Fox soccer coverage and the American soccer coverage, which is what most people are going to watch. They promised us half of each half, like so quarterly water breaks. I understand in the heat that there's going to be in the American, Mexico, even Canadian summer. I understand when that's necessary. It's real hot out there. There's going to be some really hot, humid, tough games to play in. It's fun. It allows also coaches to make some adjustments, which is really interesting. I don't mind it. I know some European and like classic soccer fans hate that there's any
So
stoppage.
FIFA has for the World Cup, FIFA has a mandatory 3-minute hydration break for each half.
Yes. So, and it's a thing. It is also a thing sometimes in European and South American soccer when it's really hot too. So anyone saying like it's just an American idea, that's bullshit. It's a normal thing. But Fox Soccer decided and has already done commercial breaks during this. What I was hoping was they'd go to some guy, they'd go to Peter Schmeichel or Landon Donovan or somebody on the touchline and be like, "How do you see him from the game down there?" Like maybe a quick interview with an assistant coach or something like we do in other sports. No, they put commercials in it, and then they cut back to commercial, and the game is already being played again. That is ridiculous.
They need to do what they do. What Fox? This may be a weird comparison, but like what Fox does in NASCAR. Like Fox will go to commercial, but they're still showing. It's the little box still has the game, and the big box showing the.
But like, there's no point if there's no game being played. But if you cut out a second of the game of the World Cup, fuck you, Fox. All right, I understand you want to play commercials for 2 minutes of it. Sure, cut back in enough time for us to get a little interview with an assistant coach and see the game. Squeezing in 3.5 minutes of commercials to 3 minutes of time, and us cutting back where there's a throw in happening on like near the 18, like happened in the South Korea game, is ridiculous. By the way, the South Korea game just ended. 2-1 South Korea, late 67th and 80th minute goals for the South Korea.
That game was 0-0 at halftime.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of sad that we were recording and I missed it, but I'll watch the highlights. It's all good.
I just think from a viewing standpoint of the games too, it's just weird. It disrupts the rhythm.
It does disrupt the rhythm.
Like you said, like it creates these many timeouts. It's hot.
And it's hot as hell.
But I think like it sucks for a team if you're on a roll and you have momentum and the game gets paused.
Yeah.
And if you're on a team that's on the ropes, somebody has you on the ropes and they have all the momentum and all the pressure and the break can save you.
It's also, listen, I understand like the Azteca doing it, but if we're playing indoors in Atlanta
or LA,
we don't need to stop. We like MetLife is going to be hot. It's going to be 80, 85 degrees, humid. Sure.
Or you're playing a Cowboy stadium, like That's an air conditioning.
If there's AC, we do not need the stoppage. I will say that. I understand it's just to make a blanket rule. It's fair for every team, but like we don't need the break in time. And it's honestly, the more they're going to do commercials, the more fans are going to be upset that it's just a commercialized aspect of the game. And of all the things that European people and South American people have complained about the USA World Cup, I agree with this maybe the most. Now, I will also say this is not an American soccer decision. This is a FIFA decision. And FIFA is the bane of all soccer fans' existence. So let's not blame the Americans when we can blame FIFA as a whole because they're the one that made the decision.
I mean, it's the reason why Vegas isn't hosting it is because FIFA and the dimensions, and FIFA got into it with Mark Davis.
Infantino can. FIFA's a corrupt organization.
Well, I would love to be living in Vegas and go to a World Cup game.
Of course you would. Oh, yeah, no, I know. There's tons of people that would love to.
What's crazy is but they let the Gold Cup and those Copa America games be played at Allegiant, but they won't let.
They'll let the Gold Cup be played anywhere. We do some of the places we played when we play some of these places in qualifying, and you're away at Curacao. Some of it's just crazy that we deal with. But yeah, no, these stadiums are world class. The grass is going to be great. I did see an NFL player, and I don't remember which.
They told Mark Davis that at the time that he would have to add $100 million in upgrades to Allegiant Stadium to host the preliminary group round games, and then they would have to. And they said the field wasn't up to standards because the Raiders' grass field sits on trays.
All right, whatever, FIFA. There was an NFL player that was complaining today. He's like, it's a disservice to NFL players that you're redoing these fields in grass like nicely for the World Cup, and you're going to take it away for turf. The NFL field should stay grass. Grass is better. I don't understand why the NFL has so much money as a product and they use turf.
Like what they do at Allegiant is UNLV plays on turf, and then the Raiders play on grass. So they roll out turf. They put the grass on the field in trays, and then they roll it out, and it sits in the sun so it can grow. On the outside, you can see it, and then they just roll out the turf for a UNLV game. When they it's the reason why UNLV and the Raiders don't play in the same day on the same weekend.
Yeah, makes sense. Nice.
Because they said that process takes between 24 to 28 hours to do.
Makes sense. The NFL makes so much money that aside from a couple stadiums where it's completely not feasible, they should play on grass. The grass is way safer, and if we're willing to do it for the World Cup, I don't know why they don't do it all the time. And that whichever NFL player that is, I'm sorry for blanking on who you are. They were correct. So I will say that. Do you have any closing thoughts on the World Cup as a whole? I mean, we got a USA game tomorrow.
Do you want to drop a prediction for tomorrow?
2-1 USA.
I think United States. That's what I was gonna say. 2-1. That's
yep.
You read my mind.
Yeah, I would say 2-1 USA. If not, I think we're gonna score 3 and maybe make it 3-1. I think our attack is really good.
I think they probably give up 2. They score 2 goals early, and then they probably give up a cheapie late. Is my opinion.
The more my thing is, I think we're gonna struggle more honestly against teams that are gonna bunker. And if we score early against Paraguay and force them to come out and play against us, that's more room we're going to have on our counterattacks and more room for Balogun and Pulisic to run. And so I think if we score early, we could put 2 or 3 past them. I mean, we put 3 past Senegal, and we could have put even more past them. And I think Senegal is just as good as Paraguay, if not better. So that's what I would say. But I don't think I don't want to overlook Paraguay. I think they're a good team.
The Norwegian team.
Yeah.
They were at the Stanley Cup game tonight. I wonder what they thought of that. I wonder what they thought of that atmosphere.
Well, the Norwegians, I'm sure they appreciate a little good hockey, and I bet you they had a great time. I hope that more of them appear. I will say France. There's a potential that France is playing in MetLife the same night as Game 6 of New York. No, they are playing as long as the series goes back to New York. Wimby losing a final and France being there would be a little tough. It'd be a little tough for the fans. But we'll have to see if the series.
Will we see any choke jobs like we saw in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, there's always the classic England's gonna absolutely shit the bed at some point.
No, but I'm talking about blowing like a 2-goal lead or 3-goal lead.
Who in this tournament could blow a 3-goal? Who is it? Who could blow that?
Will we
let me
see it? We've seen it in hockey. We've seen it in the NBA finals.
who.
Will we see it in the World?
Oh no, I'm gonna take a look at the teams right now and tell you exactly who could do that. I don't know if Brazil could, but Brazil could get like Brazil's defense is not it's not perfect. So I guess they could score enough and have that happen to them. I don't love Germany, but they're not in a great group. Who could give up goals like that
The
late?
United States.
Yeah, if we sub on Miles Robinson and Christian Roldan, there's a chance that somebody just blows us apart. There's always that option. Thank you. God, who else could get blown apart? I don't know about choke job, but I don't know if we'll see a that kind of thing. There is, of course, but in terms of choking out of things, I think anything earlier than a semifinal for France and Spain would be a choke job. I think it's the United States and the 250th anniversary of the country. I think we're guaranteed to see an England choke job just like 250 years ago. Ha ha ha. Haha, you
That's a good
choked
one.
you choked the greatest geographical asset on the planet. Ha ha ha. Who else could choke really bad? I don't think Belgium's very good. I don't think Germany's very as good as they could be. I don't think Uruguay is as good as they could be. Listen, there's always a chance that one of the dark horses kind of chokes. Like, could I see Norway kind of get their defense kind of get slaughtered maybe while their attack is filled with freaking Lamborghinis up there, but the back end is couple lemons, perhaps. Yeah, we could see that. I don't know if anyone's giving up a 3-goal lead, but that would be crazy. And we have tons of teams and tons of different things that could happen. It's a World Cup. We don't have a weird ball though. Listen, there's something about when they make a World Cup ball weird as hell. The South African 2010 Jobalana ball or whatever. There's something about when they toss this ball is like a pretty basic professional ball. It feels good. I saw an interview with Greg Berhalter on Wake Up Barstool where they're asking about the ball, and he's like, "It feels good. It explodes off your foot, nice. Like it's nice." With the Jubilana, where the only like 2 players could spin it, and all the free kicks were like knuckleballs. There was a little bit of juice to that, I'd say. I wish there was a little bit of that, but maybe one day.
I was like, my Roomba just started.
Something's going. Do you have anything else to talk about for the World Cup except for just general excitement? The games
Pulisic
tomorrow.
for Golden Boot.
If that happens, listen. To be fair, this is not the like for Golden Boot people. Usually, it's a lot of like first round of knockout and group stage goals, and you want to be in an easier group. Is it out of line that he scores 4 goals in the group? Perhaps no. That's not out of line. But there's also other players that might do that. I mean, hell, if like Mexico goes on a tear, this isn't an amazing group. I mean, you could see 4 goals from Raul Jimenez, and he might be in the latter stages of it. But yeah, I mean, like that's not the Golden Boot can be a little deceiving because sometimes people just rack up goals early. I would say somebody like Kylian Mbappe, who scores 2 goals a match for France in World Cups, would be a nice player to look at. I'm sure Mexico is calling for an end to the World Cup right now so they can declare themselves winners.
All right, I don't got anything else. Do you?
No, I don't have anything else. I'm excited. I do want to say what the games tomorrow though. So obviously it's USA Paraguay, and then at early in the day Canada's kicking off versus Bosnia. So all the home teams will have kicked off, and then Saturday we got a full day starting with Qatar, Switzerland, Brazil, Morocco. Brazil, Morocco should be a great game. Haiti, Scotland, and Australia, Turkey. I'm also obviously going to be locked into Australia and Turkey to see how those teams play because they're in a group. So yeah, got some good games coming up. I'm excited. It's going to be a great tournament.
Yep, I think so too. I'm excited to watch Team USA play tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. Hopefully the boys win. They show out, and we start the tournament with a W. Starting the tournament with a W would be, and if they play well against Paraguay, that'd be a really great sign to how we're gonna play. So really excited. Thank you for coming on, Mike. Appreciate you as always. Sorry about the Knights loss tonight. They can win. They can. Hey, it's only 3-2 series. Still believe.
Well, and it's coming back to Vegas, so
It's coming back to Vegas. No reason you can't push it to a game 7. So. Thank you for coming on. This has been the Samuel Kingery Show. Looking forward to USA playing in the World Cup. Go USA, baby.